Mistral has officially joined LeChat with its latest AI model, LeChat, your AI assistant for life and work. And as you can see, this blog post is from February 6th, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I will link it in the video description down below. You can read through it yourself. I just want to quickly brush over some interesting things. So first of all, it says, why LeChat when there are other AI assistants? And this is definitely a legitimate question, right? Because we have so many LLMs at our disposal. Why should we use LeChat? First of all, as you can see, it says fast as a flash. LeChat is able to generate tokens at the speed of 1,100 tokens per second. But please keep in mind, those are mostly cherry-picked examples. The thing that you can see here in the video is the classic build me a snake game in Python prompt. So you have to ask yourself the question, how useful are those prompts in your daily work, right? Especially if you want to use the chat to build web applications, for example, it doesn't matter if it can create a snake game instantaneously, right? So let's scroll down a bit further. As you can see, it's definitely affordable because it could only cost I mean, that's subjective, but it only cost $14.99 compared to $20 for ChatGPT and Claude. Or if you have a look at the pro subscription of ChatGPT, you have to pay $200, so it's definitely more affordable than those models. Now, the other thing that's interesting is this part here. Use it for personal growth. We're introducing memories, rolling out to all users soon, an opt-in feature that helps LeChat learn and remember more about you and your preferences. This enables you to now use LeChat for personalized learning, tracking progress towards your goals, and rediscovering conversations and insights from way back. For those of you who have worked with LLMs before, you know that a bottleneck is the context size window. So I have absolutely no idea how they resolve this, because at some point in ChatGPT, in Claude, you are prompted to start a new chat, and in this new chat, all of the context is lost, right? So it's pretty interesting to think about how they achieved this memories feature. And for those of you who follow this channel, a few days ago, I uploaded a video where I tried to build an AI coding tutor with N8N to basically help you learn coding in general. And it's interesting to see that at least Mistral in this case also leans this direction, because I think we should embrace AI and definitely use it to help us learn new skills or things that we weren't able to learn before. So we'll see how that goes and how this will develop in the future. And the next thing which is interesting is that you can use it to build personal micro apps. I believe many of us in our daily lives, whether it's at work or in our private lives, have some tasks that are annoying, but that can be solved digitally. And Mistral claims that you can use LeChat to help you solve these problems. And again, we're going to have a look at how well it performs. So without further ado, let's jump over to Excalibur. First, I want to ask LeChat to create a scientific calculator with the ability to also plot mathematical functions. So it should have features like calculating the cosine, sine, the square root of different numbers. But I also wanted to have an additional button maybe where the user, after he clicks it, can enter a function and then is able to see the plot inside of the canvas. The next step is that I want to ask LeChat to create a Python stock analyzer, just a simple script consisting of maybe 3 to 4 or 5 different files where we have also an API integration, and there is a free API called alphavantage.co. Definitely check this out. You can get a free API key to basically get stock market data for algorithmic training, and we'll see how well LeChat is able to handle the API integration. Then I want to use it to plan a personalized news aggregator project, so basically a full stack web application, because, well, if I look at these different models, I always want to know if you can use it in your day-to-day life. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it can do fancy stuff, but if your main focus is to create web applications, for example, you want to know, is LeChat or any model really able to generate high quality output for my specific prompt? And as I've said, the last part of this video will be that I ask it to generate some images. And let me tell you, I tried some prompts off camera that I've received from Perplexity, and the results are wild. Okay, so let's start with the first step. For that, we'll head over to LeChat, build a full scientific calculator with features like cosine, sine, square root, and others. The calculator should also have the ability to plot mathematical functions like x squared, for example. However, don't just add static functions that the user can plot. I want you to add a section where the user can add a function he wants and then plot it. So we also have to click the drop down here, and you want to make sure that you enable canvas mode, right? So hopefully LeChat will create HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code and will display the result in the canvas, but I'm not sure. Maybe it will also go ahead and create some Python code for us. So we'll see about this. Let's hit enter. Okay, so it actually goes ahead and creates HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code, which is nice. So let's see if we can have a look at the result. For some reason, it doesn't show the result in the browser window. Okay, we'll just ask it, can you display it on canvas? Okay, so apparently this worked. I mean, let's see. I probably have to zoom out a bit so that we can see the full calculator. So let me try something like 9 times 8 should be 72. This works. Let me do cosine of 1 should be, I don't know, 0.54 something. Also works. And let me enter a function. Maybe we'll do x times x and let's do plot. Okay, so for some reason this doesn't work. Let's do 3x, also doesn't work. Okay, so we'll ask LeChat to fix the issue. It works. I can use the calculator, but unfortunately, if I enter a function, for example, 3x, I can't see it. The graph appears, but I can't see the line. So could you please fix the issue? Okay, so we'll see how well that works. And as you can see, it really is blazingly fast. I mean, unfortunately, we only have sine, cosine, and square root, so the things that I have specified. But other than that, the generation process was pretty quick. So let's do that function again. Still doesn't work. I wonder why that is. So you still haven't resolved the issue. Can you please use a radically different approach to fix the error and then display the result again? Also, you need to make the container of the calculator a bit wider because the input field is overflowing. And I also want you to add more mathematical functions to the calculator. Right now, we only have arithmetics and sine and cosine. Please make the scientific calculator comprehensive. There's a full stop. Okay, I wanted the sentence to end, but unfortunately, my brain didn't want to do this. Now, this will probably take a bit longer. As you can see, it's going through the code line by line. We'll give it a few more seconds and then I'll be back with the results. Okay, so now as you can see, we have even more features, for example, log and the absolute value and so on. But I want to see if this still works. So let me do a plot like so. Doesn't work. What happens if I just enter this? Also doesn't work. So for some reason it doesn't want to plot the result, which is kind of weird. Also doesn't work. Also, it doesn't update anymore. Let me do the following. Maybe we can just grab the code and then I will try this inside of an HTML file. I opened the file in Chrome. As you can see, I get this error. It says uncaught error. Canvas is already in use. Chart AD 0 must be destroyed. So we'll do the following. We'll just copy that error, head back over here and say, okay, I've opened the file in a browser. Unfortunately, I get a console error. Can you please use this error to resolve and fix the bug that I can't plot the mathematical functions? The error indicates that the chart.js instance is not being properly destroyed before creating a new chart. To fix this, we need to destroy the existing chart instance before creating a new one. Okay, so again, we'll give it a few more seconds and then hopefully this will resolve the issue. Let's have a look. I'll make this a bit smaller and now we'll enter the same function and it still doesn't work. Absolutely no idea why it won't work, but well, I guess it's just what it is. So this still works, but we can't plot the mathematical function. It's too bad. I tried this off camera and it worked, but this time LeChat obviously doesn't want to make this work for whatever reason. Okay, so I've tried 2 more iterations. Unfortunately, LeChat wasn't able to make it work for whatever reason. Just know I tried this off camera and it did work. So I have absolutely no idea. I've used the same prompt, same everything, but for some reason, Mistral or LeChat doesn't want to show its capabilities. So, but I don't want to lose any more time. So this is why we want to head over to the next step, which is that I want to ask it to create a Python stock analyzer. And for that, we're going to use the following prompt. First, let me create a new chat window. Please create a Python stock analyzer, make it modularized, so don't put everything into one file. I also want you to use this documentation for implementing the actual data fetching. And I've provided it with the URL of Alpha Vantage docs. I want the app to have an input field at the top where the user can search for a specific sign, for example, Apple. Once the data is fetched, the candle chart is displayed underneath. I also want you to add another feature where a button underneath the graph appears where the user can add trend lines, e.g. moving averages. So we'll hit send. Again, make sure that you disable the canvas mode, and then we'll send the request. First, it gives a quick overview over the project structure. We have 5 files: main, data fetcher, chart plotter, trendline analyzer, UI, and requirements. Actually, that's 6 files. I'm sorry. First of all, we'll need to set up the environment, and I will do this off camera, right? And then I will get back to you with the results. I've copy pasted all the code. Now all we need to do is run python main.py. So let's do this, python 3 main.py. We'll see if we get something. Yes, actually there's a new window. Actually this is fairly small. Let me make this a bit bigger. I hope you can see this, guys. We'll do Apple. We'll fetch the data, see if this works. Okay, so it doesn't work. Let me see if we get an error. We do get an error. It says series object has no attribute date time. So we'll do the following. We'll copy that, head back over to Mistral and say, okay, when I try to search for a symbol, for example, Apple, I get the following error. Can you please fix this? And we'll paste that here. The error you're encountering is due to the incorrect usage of the datetime method. And we get a new updated chartplotter.py and trendline analyzer. So again, I will quickly copy paste the code. So let's try this one more time. Search for Apple. You can't see it yet, but in another window, we have the candle bar chart, which is nice. And now can we also click the button? No, this doesn't work. Okay, so again, we'll want to head over to LeChat. Okay, now it works that I can fetch the data for Apple, for example, but the button that is supposed to add the moving averages isn't there yet. Can you please fix this issue? Maybe add another input field where I can add the comma-separated list of moving averages, for example, 5, 20. And when I click the button, the averages will be added to the candle bar chart. You have to give it that. The responsiveness is awesome, right? You click and you immediately get an answer. So there's nothing where it says loading or stuff like that. It just works. And the code is also generated fairly quickly. Of course, it's not instantaneously, right? But still quite fast. So again, I will try this one more time to see if I can make it work. And if not, we'll head back over to the next task. Full transparency, I had to go a little bit of back and forth. Unfortunately, LeChat wasn't able to fix the bug inside of the code. I had to manually fix the code. As you can see, I went back and forth with it, I think 2 or 3 more times. Right now, the script is running, and let me quickly restart this so you can see that it actually works. So we'll do Python 3 main.py, and now we'll search for Apple again. You can see the button is now enabled, but the reason for this is that I had to manually change this parameter here, so state equals tk normal. The actual state change should have happened here, as you can see, but for some reason this doesn't work. I don't know why the function isn't communicating properly with the rest of the application, but whatever. So we'll do Apple, we'll fetch the data again. This works, and now we can also add the moving averages. So for example, let's do 520, and then as you can see, we get a new graph with the moving averages, the 5-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. It kind of works, but you still have to oversee it and maybe go manually into the code to find the small little bugs and do the last bit of fine-tuning to actually make the script work. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty decent. If you have other small tasks that you want to automate, you can use LeChat to build a solid foundation and then do the nitty-gritty stuff yourself, or go a little bit of back and forth with it, and then you will eventually find the solution. Okay, now let's head back over here and we'll go to Xcolidra. The next step is that I wanted to plan a personalized news aggregator. And again, we'll head back over to LeChat. We'll create a new window and we'll use the following prompt. Plan a full stack application, which is a news aggregator. I want you to create a full-fledged PRD, product requirements document, but don't just put everything into one file. I want to have a PRD, which gives a basic overview of the application. I want to have a backend document. I want to have a front-end document. I want to have a state management document. Output in GitHub flavored Markdown. If you need any more information about the project, please ask clarifying questions before you jump into creating all of the documents immediately. It indeed asks more clarifying questions, which is great. So other LLMs would do this too if you tell them. And now I will quickly answer all of the questions and then we'll have a look at the result together. We'll hit send and we'll see what Mistral comes up with. Great, thank you for the clarifications. Based on your inputs, here's a structured overview. So first we get a quick overview. We get the key features, for example, personalized newsfeed, topic tracking, search functionality, news categorization, user authentication with Clerk, GDPR compliance, performance load times under 1 second, Next.js 15 with Node.js with Express as backend, Redux or React Context API, authentication with Clerk, SAP API, News API, News Data API, and monetization basic features available to all users, premium features available to $5.99, whatever that means, right? Timeline development for weeks. Then we get the backend where we have the PostgreSQL or MongoDB for storing user data and preferences. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't give us the specific database models, but I mean, that's not a big deal, right? We can just iterate on that, but we get the specific API routes that we need for user authentication. I mean, we don't really need that because it's all handled by Clerk, right? But other than that, we also have the newsfeed APIs, the user preferences APIs, which is also great. And if we have a look at the front-end document, you can see that we get some basic info about the user interface, user authentication. We need login, register, and logout pages. We need secure user authentication with Clerk. And, well, I mean, it looks all pretty basic to me, but again, it serves as a great starting point to iterate on and to basically further enhance and improve your initial PRD, right? And I mean, that's kind of what you get with all LLMs. Unless you're using a reasoning model like R1 or maybe even O3 Mini, you will have to go through a iterative process in order to get what you want. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty solid. We can just pick different parts of the document and tell LeChat to improve it. Okay, now we already reached the last part of the video, and this is gonna be so much fun, guys. As I've said, I've asked Perplexity to give me some weird and funny prompts for some images. So let's have a look at what we're going to create. So first of all, I want to create a new chat window. Make sure that you enable image generation, and then let me quickly grab the first prompt from Perplexity. A gritty, neon-drenched photograph of a cyberpunk squirrel revolution. The squirrels, sporting custom-built exoskeletons and wielding laser-powered acorns, are storming a corporate skyscraper shaped like a giant nut. Rain of binary code cascades from the sky. The slogan, "Denuts the system," is spray-painted in glowing graffiti across the building's facade. In the foreground, a squirrel hacker with glowing eyes types furiously on a holographic keyboard, while a robotic owl watches over them. So we'll do send, and this probably takes a few seconds, and then we'll see the result. Let me zoom out a bit so that we can see the image in its entirety. Okay, yeah, I mean, we don't really have the building that is shaped like an acorn, but other than that, we have the slogan, "Denuts the system." We have the squirrel revolution. We also don't have the hacker, unfortunately, and we don't have the owl. As I've said, I've tested this off camera. The results were awesome. I will maybe put them on the screen left and right so that you can see the different iterations that I went through. But let me quickly grab the next prompt. An absurdly detailed watercolor painting of the Council of Sentient Vegetables. A wise old broccoli with spectacles presides over the meeting while a flamboyant eggplant in a velvet robe argues passionately, yada yada yada, and so on. Really, each result is better than the last. So let's see. We have the Council of Sentient Vegetables. We have a wise old broccoli with spectacles. We have a flamboyant eggplant that is arguing. Well, I don't know about this, but it is wearing the robe, which is nice. We have a stoic potato with a monocle that takes notes. Well, I, I mean, I don't know if this is the. What is this? It looks kind of weird. Look at this. It's two pupils. Pupils? Is that right? I don't know. Maybe you can tell me what the right word is. I have absolutely no idea. But other than that, it looks awesome, to be honest. And now let's head back over to the last prompt, and then we wrap up the video. A hyper-realistic oil painting of a sentient breakfast composed of a stack of pancakes wearing tiny existential dread masks staring followingly into a coffee cup reflecting the vast expanse of the cosmos, yada yada yada. I mean, you have to give it that. Perplexity really knows some words. Okay, so let's have a look. What? Oh. To be honest, this looks kind of disturbing. Again, I will probably put the other images left and right on the screen so that you can see the other versions, but this is unsettling. But look at this. We have a tiny galaxy on the pancakes, which is great, I guess. But, well, I think at this point we'll just wrap up the video. As you can see, LeChat is a great tool, another great tool. Depending on your prompt, it might take a little bit longer to generate the code and might take a little bit less longer. You have to test it for yourself. But other than that, I hope you gained a little bit of value from the video. And that being said, I'll see you in the next one.